10 shocking theories that show the other side of history. People share accepted opinions on every famous historical event. However, there is a chance that some of these points of view were imposed on us by the powers that be, possibly for their profit. There are a few alternative theories to famous historical events. The alternative does not always mean correct, and they are not officially recognized. However, we wish the last point was true. New Egyptian discoveries. Scientists still debate the year of construction of the Egyptian pyramids, the world's oldest monumental structures. It sounds funny, but the date difference goes from several centuries to 1,000 years. Let's take the Great Sphinx of Giza as an example. The Sphinx is commonly believed to have been built during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre in 25 BC. However, in 1857, the stele of revealing was discovered in Giza. The translation of the text on the stele says that Pharaoh Khafre commanded just to restore the Great Sphinx, not build a new one. So we may be dealing with an even older monument than was once believed. The deep furrows on the Sphinx body were proved to be the remains of water erosion. However, the weather in Egypt has not been so rainy for at least 8,000 years. This brings us to the conclusion that the Sphinx might be more than 8,000 years old. Also, after the publication of this investigation, the Egyptian authorities organized the restoration of the eroded Sphinx parts. The stele of revealing was taken out of the museum exposition. Fortune hunting in Troy. It is commonly believed that the city of Troy was most likely situated on the Turkish hill Hisarlik and later discovered by archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann. However, his colleagues doubted his discovery and considered him to be a fortune hunter. Now there is a theory that Schliemann self-promoted his discoveries. He found similar ancient ruins and buried a cache of gold. Museums had significant doubts about the authenticity of Priam's treasure found there. The Pearl Harbor attack was provoked by the USA. One theory suggests that Franklin D. Roosevelt understood that the only way to influence world history was to interfere in World War II, although American society strongly held different opinions. This theory claims that Roosevelt provoked Japan to start the attack by proposing an ultimatum document, the Hull Note. He knew about the attack that the Japanese planned because their battlecraft carriers left their base on the day of the attack. For a positive war outcome, it may have been the right move. The chronology mix-up. Isaac Newton was the first to recognize a mix-up in his monumental work, The Chronology of Ancient Kingdoms Amended. There were a lot of mismatches. For example, there is a huge disambiguation about the total number of Egyptian pharaohs. The lists of rulers differ one from another. Jean-François Champollion, a founding figure in the field of Egyptology, found the name of the pharaoh Shoshank I in the Bible and marked the beginning of the chronology of ancient Egypt. This started a whole 3 centuries of chronology that do not even refer to Egypt. The old Russian state of Kiev Rus confuses historians too. In the 6th century, Kiev was the first Slavic settlement. 3 centuries later, it suddenly became a big capital. Not much was mentioned in the chronicles. Where did 300 years of historical events go? There is a theory that Nestor the Chronicler, a well-known author of the earliest East Slavic chronicle, wrote the book on orders from Vladimir II Monomach. The purpose was to estimate the greatness of the city before the economic decline. The Carolingian dynasty is a historical phantom too. Historian Heribert Illig strongly believes the first recognized emperor, Charles the Great, was just a fictional character. Archaeologists failed to find anything on the territory of modern-day Germany that belonged to this dynasty, despite numerous mentionings of their castles in the chronicles. Michael Jackson faked his death and moved to Bahrain. Believers of this theory seem to outnumber those who simply face the fact that the king of pop is long gone. His death provokes a lot of questions and does not give enough facts. The last photograph taken could have been faked. The skin tone is different, and it is not what pictures through a tinted car window might look like. The person who called 911 was very calm and did not even mention Jackson's name. The security camera recordings disappeared, as did Michael Jackson's doctor after announcing the news. Several days before death, he looked physically well. His coffin was closed during the funeral. Members of the family may not have been crying for real. The diary was found. On some of the pages, the singer wrote about faking his death. Several years before his death, Jackson liked to spend long periods of time in Bahrain and considered moving to that country. In the summer of 2016, his daughter, Paris Jackson, posted a picture which attracted public attention. Jackson's fans think her father was in the back seat of the car. Titanic sinking alternative theories. Version number 1 suggests that the sunken ship was the Olympic, an identical ship to the Titanic. The Olympic was constructed a year before and was accidentally damaged with no insurance to cover the costs. To pay the damages, White Star Line came up with the case of the century. They decided to secretly switch the vessels before the sailing. They wanted to send the old and damaged Olympic instead of the new Titanic, fake the crash in the sea, evacuate the passengers to the nearest ships, and easily get the insurance money. But the harsh reality showed that the Olympic sank too quickly, and the nearest ships were not near enough to save the passengers. Version number 2 claims the Titanic suffered a fire prior to departure. Sufficient evidence of this fact may be found in old photographs of the ship on its departure day. The sides of the coal bunker are marked with big dark spots that might indicate an internal fire. John Dilley, the fireman of the ship, told in his interview that there was a 5-day-long fire in Bunker 6. This story was suppressed to save the company's status. After the fire, the burning hot outer hull of the ship could not stand the hit by the iceberg. The most alluring version says that the unlucky mummy, a famous ancient Egyptian artifact from the British Museum, was part of Lord Canterville's luggage on the Titanic. The artifact is mainly famous for bringing misfortune to the collector as well as to previous owners. After the Titanic tragedy, the paper said that the unlucky mummy was, in fact, a priestess of Amun-Ra. The inside wall of the mummy board said, "Leave the oblivion and conquer those on your way with one sharp look." So, which theory do you believe in? Do you have your own ones? Share them in the comments. Who knows, maybe you're the one who'll be able to reveal some of the most mysterious events in history. Don't forget to hit the like button below the video and click subscribe to join us on the bright side of life.